Hey, guess what happened again? So Nintendo thought it was a good idea to invite me out for a second time to play some more Nintendo Switch 2 games early. This was at good old Fan Expo in Toronto because there was no way I was going to PAX in the US, and actually, how much is a plane ticket to Germany for Gamescom? I think I'll stick to Toronto for the time being. A huge thank you to Nintendo of Canada for obviously inviting me to play these games early. It was great. Fantastic, you'll love to see it. And because Fan Expo isn't a purely gaming related convention, you're not going to see all of the new games that are coming out. I did not get to play Kirby Air Riders, but I will still talk about it because I feel like I know more than most. And while I could talk a bit about Hollow Knight Silksong coming out in 2 weeks, I think I'll just say the game looks like you can schmoove unlike the original Hollow Knight, so I'm kind of getting excited for it. Except I'm on vacation when it comes out, so I'll have to play it later. The games I really wanted to try out at this demo were then the Kirby Switch 2 edition, Metroid, and Elden Ring on the Switch 2, so I'll let you guys know how I think about all those. As for Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition plus Star Crossed World plus Kirby Switch 2 edition plus Star Crossed World plus Kirby Switch 3. Whoa. Since the game is coming out in a week, I didn't really want to play too much. It was just the exact same demo that I played back at the Switch 2 experience in April, but I just can't sing this game's praises enough. I mean, it's Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which if you guys have played Astrobot, which I'm assuming none of you have because why in the world would you buy a PS5 for one game? Kirby and the Forgotten Land on the Switch 1 is just as good as Astrobot, and this Switch 2 edition just makes it so much better. The controls, which were already super good in the base Nintendo Switch edition, are even better now because it's just, you schmoove and it's smooth and it's The two new announced mouthful modes that they had in the overview trailer look pretty cool as well, although I did not get to play as them. The spring mouthful mode is very funny though. Imagine Spring Mario in Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, except you can actually control where you're going without having the mind of a madman. So I think that's pretty neat. And one thing I will say, usually I'm able to 100% these Kirby and the Forgotten Land levels on the first try, but I was just not able to find all of the hidden objectives in this level, which is crazy. Me! But regardless of that, I do think that the level design is just as good as the original version of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, so there's no need to worry about any of that stuff. I'm very excited to play it in a week's time. I will be streaming it, and you will watch because you're subscribed, right? That was actually a pretty good integration, I'm not gonna lie. Next up, it is time to talk about Metroid Prime 4. And honestly, although I did play this game back at the Switch 2 experience in April, of course, I think somehow I'm even more excited after playing the exact same demo again. And now there's a few reasons for this. First off, I figured out you can kill the final boss of this demo with the morph ball bombs. I did do that, and people did look and say, what is this guy doing? And rightfully so. Why would anyone do that? One thing that I found myself really enjoying more in this second demo playthrough was the mouse controls. If you guys remember what I said in the previous video regarding Metroid Prime 4, which you all saw because you're whatever, you folks know that I wasn't that big a fan of the mouse controls in the Switch 2 edition. I just felt like it was very odd to use, and I said I would really have to learn these controls to get adjusted to them and then play the game at the highest level that, I am capable of doing. And I'm glad to report I played through this entire demo with the mouse controls, and I'm really starting to get the hang of it. The hardest part about adjusting to these mouse controls is the fact that whenever you lock on an enemy, your aiming reticle now becomes some sort of cursor and you can move it around on the screen without moving the actual camera. But now that I've gotten used to aiming in this new way, I kind of think of it like the appendage system from Xenoblade Chronicles X, except none of you are going to get that reference because you have not played peak gaming. But I digress. The demo I played was at 1080p resolution and 120 frames per second, which was absolutely crazy. I did actually notice it because I got the gamer eyes and can tell the difference. But I will say I will probably play this game in 4K 60 just because I don't really need anything more than 60 frames per second. I'm a simple man. I do think the mouse controls really are emphasized in the various boss fights, especially against, what's this guy's name? Hold on. Zoom in. Abrax? Aberax. Anyways, this boss monster has a bunch of glowing points on their body. I wonder where you're supposed to shoot. But being able to aim the cursor at this specific target was a real big help. And it's not like you'll be able to just point and click on all the targets and win, because there's blockers. Depending on the angle you're shooting at, it won't hit. You actually have to think about things. And I like thinking about things in video games. But anyways, I killed the boss with the morph ball bombs. You've known this. And now I get to move on to the last game I got to demo here. And that game was Elden Ring Tarnished Edition. And hoo boy, I have some things to say about this one. The first thing to note is that when I booted up this Tarnished Edition, I got an additional 2 classes to choose from the starting 10, I believe. The one I chose had a shield and a good old pokey sword. Hooray. And the game looks really good. From a glance, I can't really tell the difference from the Switch 2 edition graphics and the graphics from, let's say, me playing on my computer. However, the one main difference is going to be obviously the frame rate. And this is where a lot of people have a bunch of concerns regarding Elden Ring. And me too. For the most part, the game held a solid 30 frames per second, which, could be higher, I'd appreciate it being higher. Maybe give us a mode in the future from software or whoever's making the port of this version, I don't know. But there are indeed various frame drops at certain points in the game. I remember there was one right near the end of my session where I was fighting the tree sentinel, and that was when I ran into some bushes and they turned transparent in order for me to see better, and it was also raining. There was just a bunch of stuff going on. But all I will say is that I did find the game to be playable enough to where I could beat Margaret first try. Anyways, that's all I'm saying. Hey, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, I did that. I haven't touched Elden Ring anything in like a year. I was the first person at that booth, and I was the first person to beat that boss. Goodness gracious, the curse continues. But in regards to Elden Ring's frame rate, I do think it is very important to note that I 100% believe that this game can run better. If folks can get Zelda Tears of the Kingdom running at a somewhat stable 30 frames per second on the original Nintendo Switch, Elden Ring can at least run at a solid 30 on the Switch too. At least. As someone who has kind of minimal knowledge of the major AAA gaming industry practices, although I am a game developer myself, check out the figure for the guy in my game. Whoa, watch out, wow. Whenever a demo build for something has to be made, it's usually made months in advance. So I can only hope that the development team behind this port are working on the game right now and can manage to iron out all of those little hiccups. This issue with Elden Ring Switch 2 Edition's frame rate reminds me at the launch of Tears of the Kingdom how some previews were showing how bad the frame rate was, and then Nintendo rolled out a day one update, and basically all of those hiccups were fixed for the most part. I think that's what happened. At least it happened to me. And I'm making the video. Although there is one thing I absolutely despise about Elden Ring Switch 2 Edition that I will not shut up about because it's just a thing that's natural and I'll get used to it over time. And that's the fact that you press A to confirm instead of the bottommost button. As someone who's put in like 200 hours into this game over who knows how long, I haven't played the game in a year by the way, I'm so used to pressing the bottom face button to confirm an action. Sometimes I miss input, but hey, I still beat Margaret. That's all I'm saying. It's only in the menus, so the bottom button still is to jump, and the right button is still to roll, and the left button is still to use your flask or whatever item you got, and the top button still for interact and all that jazz. It's the exact same control scheme. But now I feel the need to talk about Kirby Air Riders a tiny bit, because you all should purchase that game. And as someone who's poured way too many hours into the original Kirby Air Ride, I must say Kirby Air Riders looks like the perfect game. Literally perfect game. No notes. And we haven't even seen all of it yet. There's only like 5-6 tracks revealed, and I think that's crazy. I have seen people complaining about the city trial mode in Kirby Air Ride, saying that at a point their vehicle was way too fast and they weren't able to control it. But to me, that sounds like a skill issue. You should have balanced your power-ups better. And besides, if you're not going Mach 10 around the city, are you really playing the game? I'm super excited for Kirby Air Riders when it comes out in November. I will be streaming it, and you will be watching because you're just like the last time I was invited to one of these preview events. I will be posting all of the gameplay to cdotplays, my Let's Play channel, with some commentary over top of it. So be sure to give that a watch when you have the time and subscribe to cdotplays. But yeah, I must say there are some great games coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 this year, especially Metroid Prime 4. Oh my god. The only way to make this Switch 2 launch year even better would be to have Mario Galaxy 2. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you're new, but you've already done that because you're subscribed, right? That made no sense. Actually, no, it did.